I was never part of the in crowd. I was always the outcast. I was too young. I was too short. I was too silly, too energetic. I was too much, or I was not enough. I was never just, oh, he's cool. So there was a time in my life that at some point, I don't know exactly how it really came about, but I just kind of fit into some group. And that group was the rebellious, the powerful, the feared group. And we had a lot of good friendships, but the friendship, it was really just all based on pride and anger and disappointment with everything else. And little by little, we just found that all of us were really disappointed. None of us felt accepted, and we all accepted each other. And we would be really rude. There was a lot of pride in that group. We really pushed out a lot of people that were really good kids. We just pushed them away because they were too straightforward, or too square, too rule following. We broke the rules. We broke them, and we were proud. We were proud of ourselves. And I didn't ever overanalyze this, like this is what I have to do to be accepted. I just knew that if I would act a certain way, I'd be rejected. So I was the tough guy. I became this tough little crazy Russian kid that people would fear, people would be proud of, or people would talk like really highly of. People would revere me as, hey, yo, don't mess with him. He's crazy. Don't do that with Krim. He's loose. Like he'll let loose on you. And I did. I did a lot of crazy things. It was just my natural attitude from that point on. And it all kind of fell in place. Then I began to look a certain way. I began to dress a certain way. I began to fall into the whole style. And I really wanted to be accepted. I really wanted to be treated well. And I didn't realize there was a price. There was a price. Your whole attitude had to be adjusted. And you had to have this firmness about you. This firmness that 15, 16-year-olds shouldn't have to have. I shouldn't have to not really smile in a picture. Nobody told me not to, but it was just this thing. You don't smile. You don't show weakness. You don't show vulnerability. Vulnerability is death. It's social death. You gotta be tough. You gotta be able to handle it. I mean, I was a goof. I was. But everything kind of fell into this order of me really standing out or trying to show off. My spirit was dead. I really didn't have any emotional expression that was good. All my pictures, I looked like I was depressed. And I look back now, I'm like, man, look at these pictures. Look at how I really held myself. I really didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. And I didn't even do what I was told a lot of the time just because that would give me some kind of props. I broke rules on purpose. I showed off a lot. I knew I was showing off, but I wasn't trying to be some rude guy. I just really wanted people to accept me. I wanted people to say good things about me, because inside I was saying so many bad things about myself. Hopefully somebody on the outside would say just one thing good, and maybe I got to do all these things so they realize I'm a great person, or I'm fun, I'm outgoing, I'm not stupid, I'm not boring, I'm not dull, I'm not confused, I'm not that bad person that got to be made fun of. I'm not that person that wants to be made fun of. So I started climbing this mountain of pride, and I really thought at some point I reached it. I really did. I think I may have, but later on. But at that point I felt like, okay, I got friends, I got people getting my back, this is good. And I was faking it, because I didn't feel good inside. I mean, it's something I was naturally doing. It's something I was naturally living. It's the way that I was kind of beaten into emotionally. So I began to stand up and show authority. I began to stand up and have power. And I wanted to be worthy of the friendships. I wanted to be worthy of somebody caring about me. And yet, while all this was going on, I hid behind my uniform. Because in my uniform I looked fine, but what I did on my off time, it wasn't good. It wasn't worthy of that uniform. It wasn't. I did a good job in my uniform. I did a good job. I know that. I worked hard. But that wasn't all of me. There was another side of me, another side that was crying out for attention, crying out for acceptance, crying out just to be okay. And I did a lot of dumb things in order to try to be okay. So my style and my attitude began to form more and more towards this arrogance, this pride. My understanding of my own self-image was so distorted at some point. It became more and more ugly. But some people accepted it. It's a style I carried with me. And it began to change little by little, just form more and more into this ego pride, egocentric, narcissistic individual. I couldn't stop. And I was so broken at some point. At some point, I was so broken. I don't know why I got to that point. It took so long in my life, but I was so broken that I did something no one's ever taught me to do. I've done something nobody's ever trained me to do. I've never had a conversation about it. I just did it. It felt natural. And I let God in because I couldn't find my way out. I let God in and I reached out with all my life and I surrendered. I surrendered. And He gave me a new life. He gave me a new life, and this life is no longer attempting to glorify myself. That's not the purpose. So I rid myself of those fashion worries. I rid myself of that pride. I rid myself of that nature of trying to be number one, and I take the lower spot. I can now take the lower spot and be okay. That's acceptable. That's actually better. Humility is so much different from pride and egoism. I don't have to try so hard. I just go forward, and all the glory now can go to God. And I was changed. I wasn't changed by myself. I wasn't changed by an effort. Some people say, good job, man, you really turned yourself upside down. It's like, you don't get it. I did turn myself upside down all the way onto my face, and God picked me up. Jesus Christ, with His love in hand, picked me up. Only God could have picked me up and done that. I mean, everybody knows me. I was a lost, confused, angry, violent, thieving, buying and selling, crooked, addict, depressed, suicidal individual for years. But all of a sudden somebody says, you're right, you just picked yourself up. Of course, because I suddenly decided that now I had the strength to pick myself out of my own mess. I say no, I died. I completely died. A hand of authority picked me up, and it wasn't my own, and transformed me. Transformed me into something beautiful. Not my beauty. I don't have any of my own. But now there's someone more than me that I get to point towards, to say, hey, you may look at the after and say, I don't want that. But if you consider where I was before and why I wanted help, maybe you might also find that. Maybe that might lead you to say, well, I don't know if I like the way after looks, because I'm pretty focused on where I'm at right now. Because after looks like it has so much less. It has less of what you've been trying to get. It has more of what you've never even searched for. I do have less. I don't have all those shoes. I don't have all those fitteds. I don't have all those tank tops. I don't have all that jewelry. I don't have all those piercings. I have so much less in that. But I'll say this, my heart is so filled. It is filled. And it's like I can't empty it. It doesn't become empty, it's filled. Not with just a little cup of hope. It's filled with the love of Jesus Christ. It's literally filled that way. And I live that way because He gives me a chance to. I'm not good enough. I didn't earn it. I didn't do a single thing to deserve it. Not one. I reached up and said, God, help. And He gave me something that has completely changed me. Now I am glad because I can give Him honor. I can give Him praise. And He walks next to me. He walks around me. He walks with me every single day. And I don't have to try hard enough to earn His love or acceptance. He accepts me and He works with me, and all I can do is say, God, keep going. Keep going. I see how you do it. Just keep going. It's beautiful. I'm in love with it. Keep going. It's worth it. God, you are worth it. And it's all in Jesus' name. All of it. Every single ounce. And now I know what it means to worship, because I know who is actually worth getting that worship. It wasn't me. It's not the person in the mirror. It really is God. But until you get to that point where you reach up and say, God, I want you, I'm not surprised you don't feel a reason to worship someone. I'm not surprised you don't feel a reason to give your life to Him. But I say that if He would pick me up from my muck, from my garbage and dirt, I pretty much spat in His face for however many years, not knowing He was there, but the life I lived, I just destroyed the beautiful gift of a life He gave me, and yet He didn't scold me. He just took me, wrapped me, and showed me there's something more. And I say, if you haven't found that something more, look to Jesus Christ. He is really there. And all you gotta do is start talking to Him. Reach up your prayers to Him. He'll give you more. And you'll never have not enough, even though it's like you can't get enough of Him. All for His honor, all for His glory. God bless you.